I mentioned it before how Treyarch tried to make Grief appeal to the casuals to fit in line with Cold War era zombies, which is an overall attempt at getting zombies to have a wider appeal by streamlining and simplifying things. The highest point of emphasis in modern zombies is accessibility at the cost of basically everything. But the way Grief works doesn't fit into that mold, and it doesn't appeal to anything but the hardcores, and here's the proof. This is on the front page of the COD Zombies subreddit, and these guys have no hint of irony in what they're saying either, so this is a look into how the average player sees Grief. Post 1. The most hilarious thing I haven't seen since the reveal is not one single soul has questioned Grief not returning. Post 2. It's probably because Grief in 6 was PvP with zombies instead of out PvEing the other team. Soon as I loaded in and got stun-locked by Cali Sticks, that's all I needed to see. Post 3. What made Grief fun for me in Black Ops 2 is it was essentially a survival match against the other team. The player base of zombies, more so than ever, is very casual now. Black Ops 3 is probably when it was at its peak in terms of hardcore players. That's not really how it is anymore with zombies, and Treyarch leans into that wider appeal because they need funding to continue making new zombie modes and rake in money for the shareholders. It is a publicly traded company. And this is why Grief in 6 failed, at least to some degree. It is pretty fun, but we can't say it's that successful. Because this isn't the same Treyarch that made the original. And it's made worse by the fact that they didn't even bother researching the original at all. And what we got was some kind of Frankenstein creation that is all over the place and doesn't commit to what it needs to be. A competitive PvP mode because they knew that's not what the current zombie fan wants or even could handle, honestly. So let's bring in RNG capture points and tone down the indirect PvP and patches to try and remove the competitive aspect of it because these pussies can't fucking handle it. But doing so just gives you a disjointed game because a lot of players ignore the capture zone and just beat the hell out of the other team. And the capture zone becomes an inconvenience rather than something that flows within how it all plays out. And you just have this mashup of parts that don't fit. If you're gonna make Grief, understand the source material and fully commit. Not this half-measure shit thinking it'll bring in more players, because it won't, and it will also alienate some of the hardcores as well. They treated Grief with kitty gloves and sanded off as many edges as they could to not prick the delicate skin of the modern zombie player, but that is so out of touch with what Grief is, it's unbelievable. This thing even got green lit. I'm glad it did, because I enjoy it, and it means Grief has many, many more years of life in it. But as I've mentioned before, the wasted potential does sting because this really could have been all-time great.